we have a inline DOM which behaves as a page 2, but I still have a privilege of creating a new HTML file called any name page 3. I just name it. Make sure that particular page contains only the required information. I'm not going to use a data theme. I'm going to use a basic data theme itself. Remember, this is outside of the document. It's a different document. Remember, every HTML page has an object called document. So it is in a different document, mean different file. So the document is different for this, but still jQuery can load it as a single page document. Let me convert one of the page link to the pop page link. I will add a hash only to identify one of an ID located in the same DOM. Same document. In this case, I am giving an external page link. Let me see how it behaves. It did. The page 3 loaded, and it can still work. So jQuery treats the external pages also. jQuery somehow, jQuery mobile somehow load the external document also in the same document. You may still wonder, if I click on page 3, see the URL changes. It is actually for viewing purpose, jQuery dynamically changes the URL, but technically speaking, it is a single page design. We had attempted something before. How I can identify that? Once I load it, if I refresh that page, if you see that, you will lose the entire jQuery design at all, because page 3.html, if you notice, this .html does not have any reference about the jQuery mobile or script tags, CSS, nothing. So refreshing, make sure it renders as a standalone page. Since it doesn't have any reference to whatever the jQuery mobile, you are seeing a very normal link. So jQuery dynamically seems to be doing something here. So when I click here, and it makes sure the instance of jQuery mobile and CSS kept, and the external file loaded inside this particular single document itself, or parent document itself. Okay, that's for explanation. We'll put something here in the index page. Username, whatever. I just added one input field. I hope it is highlighted. I'm going to type something here. Maybe one button I'm going to place here. Once I click the button, that particular data should be displayed in page 3. Mean I'm taking a data from one page to another page. That's what I'm trying to attempt. Let's keep a anchor. Href, what you call anchor link itself can behave as a button, that we already know, or you can keep a button. So once I enter something, when I click it, it should go to the page. Now we need to handle the events. Button click events we need to handle. Then only we can capture the data and take it to somewhere. So time to add a JavaScript block. prefer to be written somewhere at the end. Few things. First thing, I am going to need a function. My naming convention. It's a user defined function I wrote. I told you I have a convention of giving a name start with on only for purpose I am detecting some events. Any naming convention you can follow. I just make it as if, okay, even though the user defined function whatever I write just serve the purpose. By any other developer sees is, oh, okay, this functions for some button, he may identify, then he can search easily. So as we see, like, the project development is a grouped one, so you should have follow certain convention. It's just a convention. It's maybe a best practice I am recommending, but not, it's not a rule. Okay, fine. So let me call it. And we have an ID called user name, so let's create a object. I would like to display this here. This is where I would like to display. I'm just going to bring the data over here. Maybe put ID. So the design what we are trying to do, when I click here, the page moves to a second screen. I mean, here it displays the name. So how we can take it forward, that we have to see. Does anybody have suggestion? You can let me how we could do that. If you have any idea, you can share. Otherwise, I mean, it's pretty easy in fact, because we have an object in JavaScript and I already define an ID over here. So you know that how to set the value. Old school method. I'll try to attempt whether it works or not. Before that, I need to move the user to next page. I need to handle the page change. That is very important. I haven't complete that as well. Any sequence. JQuery methods or function usually start with a dollar. I hope you know that. JQuery mobile specific things start with dollar dot mobile. I mean, these functions are part of jQuery mobile, not available in the parent jQuery mobile. Okay. There is a object called PageContainer. Even I forgot. That's an object called PageContainer. It has a method also called PageContainer with certain change some object. I'm just predicting it. Let me see if it works. No, it's not working. Change page. Page container change transition. Let me refer the document. Page container. And this is also not documented properly, the event handling of jQuery mobile. But anyway, we have documented. It's there in our website. Page container change. Great. This is what stupidity. Everything is fine. If you notice, this code does not tell where it is going to land. What is the destination of the page you are trying to load? If I need to tell, I'm trying to load page 3. So 3 arguments. First thing, jQuery mobile object. Both the thing forms one object, and it has a instant page container instance. Mean it is not a document instance, it's a page container instance. Mean your whole jQuery mobile document instance. And it has one more method called page container. See the convention, it does not have a uppercase letter. And in that you need to give 3 arguments. One, what you're trying to do, changing the page. Second, destination of the page. And third, is there any animation you're trying to do or any data you're going to send along with the page. So let me see. It does change. The page does change. Now if I type something, I should see. Of course I haven't written any code. Of course this particular line trying to put the user whatever he entered and map it to a DOM ID welcome, but still the result does not appear. If you notice this, I type something, when I click here I really don't see anything happening, because the problem here is the second page is dynamically loaded. If you see the code sequence, first it gets the value entered in the input field, what I typed. Second, it tries to map to a DOM which is yet to load. In the third line only that particular page 3 is loaded, but whereas I am trying to call a DOM which is there in the third page. The sequence is wrong because the page is not loaded yet. The page 3 alone has this particular DOM because page 3 has this DOM. The sequence is wrong. But is it the only problem? Let's see. I change the sequence now. Assuming the page 3 is loaded, then I am trying to map the value. Let's try. Still no luck. There's a problem here. One, we have to understand how jQuery handles the pages. jQuery dynamically loads the page in the same document, one, but it takes some time. We have to understand, or we have to have certain callback method whether the page 3 is fully loaded or not. Once the page 3 fully loaded, once we get a confirmation, there I can have, because that particular time the DOMs would be available, otherwise it may not be ready. So we have to write certain function to make sure the page is ready. I'm going to really need a couple of functions to identify the page change. I can use built-in jQuery event listeners. We have already used one document ready quite long. I mean, we have been using them, and that can also be written in this way. The document ready function can also be written in this way. Document.on specify what is the event you are trying to listen, or you can directly write both the same. So there are plenty of events are there which is documented or not documented, or any other further listeners you may add. jQuery mobile adds one more event, page before change. Be careful, typos, make sure. This particular event jQuery mobile adds, page before change main. I mean, you are trying to load page 3. This is what you are doing. Whether the page 3 is fully loaded, is available, that particular event can detect. I mean, from page 1 to 2, just before, is the time where you can map the data to the second page. So make sure you call that, and it has two arguments. One is event, another one is data. Any additional data you are sending inside. So I'm going to put the console statement to verify what exactly the data is giving me, then try to see whether it is useful or not. Inspect. It has already printed something anyway. Couple of things it prints, but if you notice, this value out of 1 tells something about page 3. If you really if you could read the particular console log, one of a particular value talks about page 3. Okay, let us open it. It has an object called toPage. Okay, it means it prints twice. First thing, two datas are coming, maybe an array which is coming printing twice. So in that one of an object having a toPage attribute and having an information about page 3. Then I'm going to put if data first let me print what is toPage, then inside elements we'll capture. Sorry. Okay, it gives me an information about page 3 and the DOM information. So time to use them in our example, which is typically speaking data role page 3, everything is there. I think I'm just interested on ID. Let me dot print ID. Yes, I'm getting. I think couple of condition I need to put before getting into. Before I need to see if data dot toPage exist, so that the other console outputs won't come, I mean errors won't come. Okay, this is something we don't need to worry because it's something due to the NetBeans something it will put if data page of 0th one id equals to page 3. Page 3, this is the id we have given. Remember, the id of a page is page 3. Then assuming the page 3 is loaded, time to pack some data. I'm going to create, remember how to send argument to a event listener, which we have already seen in jQuery itself. You can create an object and send it. Sorry, it's already an object. And I'm going to put the username. Maybe I'll keep it as a username itself. The object is packed, added with the change container, and the object is going, and the thing can be captured from console log data dot to page 0 options. The jQuery example, it was just data. In this case, options and user. Something really going, but it's still not packing. Okay, let me see what is this 2 page. Maybe attribute name is wrong. Okay, let us carefully read this one. Okay, it's not available in 2 page, it is available in the data itself. Let us verify. Let's read it. Yeah, object, there is an object called options available in attribute name. In that I have user and I have the value which is coming here. So it is data dot options dot user. So time to map. And I'm not going to need this. Type and click. Now I see the name loaded over here. So I can transport the data between the pages in this way, and whatever value I enter, I can pass it through a different page. So I can take a data from one page to another, or from that page to bring it back. I can do various things using $.mobile page container object. If you notice this one, this is what it transport or put the objects into a next container. To make that happen, you have to get the instance of the page container. Page container is an object available in jQuery mobile. In that, there is a function called page container exists. It requires 3 arguments, one being the action what you perform, changing the page, second being the destination of the page what you are trying to load, and the third being your custom objects, whatever the object you are trying to send to that page. That if you have any transition, that also you can mention. The transition is not compulsory, but you can mention all the transition whatever you want, like turn We have already seen the number of transitions. That also you can mention. What's happening? So transition, if you do not specify, that also still will work. We'll load the default transition whatever mapped. So this page container object transport the data between different pages. How I can identify? By defining page before change event, of course by registering it. Whenever page change happens, this particular block will keep on listening. In that, identify whether the page 3 is loaded. If a page 3 is loaded, mean okay, the page 3 being shown. Then unpack the data and get your custom data whatever you send by calling data.options. Option attribute carries the additional bundles or optional data. So that you can call and display in the second page. So this is a usual convention to transport between the pages. Using that or using this, you are going to build the requirement what I just said before. Your task is to create a 4 page mobile app, managing 4 or 5. Okay, it's going to contain login page, it's going to contain registration page, it's going to contain list of students, student list page, and it's going to contain student record registration page. So 4 page, and these 4 pages having unique requirement. Student login and the login and registration page makes use of local storage to persist the data. The second other 2 pages make use of IndexedDB to persist the data. You're going to mix both. Then you create JQuery mobile application, display the pages based on the conditions. Username, password entered, based on the display. Without the username, password, the page should not be shown, and do various other things. So that's the project we are going to work on. Tomorrow I will also write along with you. Then you can also write, and when we complete that, we should be aware of how jQuery mobile apps being built. We would be aware of what all the UI components are there in jQuery mobile. We would be aware of how to programmatically handle the page change events, using JavaScript, and we would be aware of exporting them into a native environment such as iOS application. So when we are done with that, yes, of course we are getting into mobile application track. That's what I would like to see. In between, I will also let you know how to customize and recommended practice to create user interface in mobile application, like a tab based design, some design based on tab, some design based on the controllers, single page and straightforward navigation. Some navigation may be split into 3 or 4 different components so that tab based interface possible. Which one would be suitable, I'll be recommending. Of course your requirement makes sense. It's not something you decide, okay, I want to keep a tab. No. If your requirement requires such an environment, you should use it. So first thing, the requirement, analyzing the requirement, and once we analyze the requirement, then we proceed what is the user experience for that would be suitable, then start the coding. So that procedure I'll let you know as we progress on the development. Stay focused, of course, and I'll upload this part of this code to the site. Make sure you complete the previous one and this one, and of course keep your day on. At least I'm done with that, so I'm not going to disturb you guys afterwards. But still, I'm going to ask your behavioral trainer what you really did to my people. Today I really see a different thing. From last 5 days continuously I'm handling. I never seen you people it's almost yawning here now once I enter. Fine. Anyway, it's a Saturday, so no problem. Fine.